if we talk about social media, people like people. So it's about making sure that your strategy involves putting the person who is likely to be in contact with the clients front and center so that they can see what to expect, and that content always gets much more engagement than a very salesy post. So that's a real top tip for people who are doing their own social media, is focus on the people and the story.
I'm Mike Harris, and I help businesses to successfully grow their turnover and profit. In the last year alone, I have helped dozens of businesses at least double in size. And I work with small, medium and large businesses, including startups and multinationals. Hello and welcome to All You Leaders in Strategy. Today we're going to look at a key aspect of a successful business, which is the website and your digital marketing. So to tackle this important subject, I'm joined by a very special guest, website and digital marketing expert, the person and the company that I actually trust my website to, Jess Williams. Hello, Jess.
Hello, nice to meet you and nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
As you probably know, because I know you watch the podcast, and we like to start by giving you the opportunity to do a podcast pitch, which is similar to an elevator pitch, really. So quickly, tell us about yourself, your background, and a little bit about the company Design in the Shires.
Yes, of course. So my name's Jess. I'm one of the directors at Design in the Shires alongside my husband. So we started the business in 2018 and have seen it grow from there, which is brilliant. My background is actually in the NHS. So I was an assistant practice manager for a few years, which gave me some lovely transferable skills, which can be used in the business we now run. So I have since become an expert in SEO, digital marketing, website design, all the marketing aspects that we cover as a business, which has been an incredible journey to go on. I'm very grateful to have had it. And Design in the Shires itself is a website and marketing design business. So we do all sorts of digital marketing, website design from e-commerce right through to simple brochure sites, digital marketing, social media, and consultancy, anything within that sphere we're happy to cover effectively.
Brilliant. So we like to have an icebreaker, which not only gives us a chance to kind of get into the zone for the podcast, but also for the listeners and viewers who may be doing other things, maybe walking the dog or going for a run, and it just helps get their mind back into the right place. So we had a quick look beforehand on the subjects. So today we're going to look at what proverb or mantra do you live your life by and why?
So it's not necessarily an official proverb, but what I like to live my life by is the idea that it should be fun. We should be having fun. We like to try and reduce stress. Let's make life as enjoyable as possible. And I think that doesn't just come to personal life. I think that should be in work too. We spend a huge amount of time at work. Therefore, trying to make it as enjoyable as possible is important for me and for all our staff as well. So that's something that I like to bring through personal and work life. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting, and I've said this on the podcast before, but I used to have somebody who worked for me, and I once said to them that this strategy is going to be really exciting. And this guy said, "Yes, Mike, it's always exciting with you, but will it be fun?" And it was the first time I realised that maybe there's a difference between an exciting ride and a fun one. So I think it's really interesting that's the proverb, because when I look at the values of the business, we're going to go off at a slight tangent, but I think it's a good one. I look at your values and you've got creativity, connecting, honesty, happiness, sharing, transparency. And therefore the fun that you just mentioned sits there within the values. And then something that I've always found interesting, because I think it's really important that businesses really do live the values and believe in them, that your studio manager also has the title Head of Happiness, which kind of ties back to the funness, ties back to the happiness as a value. Do you want to just quickly talk through how you came up with that role and maybe why it's important to the business?
So the role came into existence because I wanted there to be somebody in the company who pushed that value of happiness. I wanted to make sure that it went through everything. If there's nothing else in life, we want to be at least happy. Can't happen all the time. So the head of happiness role is there not only to look after staff and to keep an eye and be a listening ear if anything's going on that might be impacting them in a negative sense, but also for the clients and to make sure that what we're doing in the business, they're having fun during the process of building the project and going through the project. And then also just those kind of what you'd maybe more expect with that role. She plans all the fun things we do. So she's great at kind of thinking about what everybody in the team would enjoy, making sure that it's not weighted one way or the other, and comes up with lots of fun team building things that we do as well. So it's really goes right to the root of the business and our values, but also goes through to those more kind of activity-led things as well.
And I see it through the what you post on LinkedIn, and so it becomes part of your digital marketing.
Yes. Yeah.
So it probably brings us nicely onto that subject about marketing and digital marketing. What do you think the most important aspect of digital marketing is?
That it be authentic. It needs to, any marketing that you do, whether it be traditional or digital, needs to speak truly about the business and the people behind it, because customers will smell a lie a mile off, and inauthenticity is something which kills businesses very quickly. So whatever marketing you're doing, but particularly with digital marketing, because you can put so much of your personality into it, to be authentic to who you are, so that when a customer does actually approach you, the people they've seen on social media or the vibes they're getting from social media match the experience they have when they come in as a client. So I think being authentic about who you are is probably the most important aspect.
So what motivated you to get into digital marketing and maybe specifically website design in the first place?
So I will be honest. My husband is the designer, so he's always wanted to do this. This was always his dream. And what happened for me personally was I was working in the NHS and became unwell because of the stress. So we decided that we wanted to do this together. So I brought my transferable skills. But what actually happened that I was really surprised about was my love for website design and my love for SEO and digital marketing. I'm equally as passionate about it as Ben now. So what really drove me into starting the business was stress and pressure from another role. But finding something that I'm genuinely passionate about has been wonderful. I don't regret a moment of it.
Yeah, and it's often the case, isn't it? If you really enjoy something, you don't see this or feel the stress.
Yes, exactly. It's got to be something you're passionate about, isn't it? And that goes back to the happiness and fun thing, is that if we're all doing something we enjoy, life is much nicer that way, isn't it?
This episode is sponsored by Strategist Consulting, expert business and leadership consultancy for everyday businesses and professionals. What if the key to your business's next growth phase isn't a mystery, but a proven process? Is your business at the ceiling, with profits flat, daily chaos, and scaling up feeling like a risky leap? You're not alone, and you don't have to solve it alone. Strategist Consulting is your partner for structured, transformative growth. Led by Mike Harris, a proven strategist and project manager with expertise in scaling businesses, bid management, and delivering results, we provide clarity through our core service, the Business Review Workshop. This isn't just advice, it's a deep dive analysis that delivers a clear, actionable roadmap. We identify your bottlenecks, uncover hidden opportunities, and give you the precise steps to move from stuck to strategic execution. Visit www.strategistconsulting.co.uk now and transform your business trajectory.
What personal experiences have shaped your approach to website design?
I think my personal experiences have come from the clients. So it's, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm perfect. We have hiccuped and made mistakes in the past, and it's that learning curve that's been really valuable. So what shaped experience was when we first started, what clients liked, what they didn't like, what was helpful, what advice they wanted versus what they really didn't, and just shaping that over time. My experiences from the NHS has allowed me to deal with lots of different people in lots of different ways
Yeah.
with good communication skills, and that dealing with the stress and the high pressure, I'm in a better place to do that, having been in that environment. But I effectively am here because I really like people. And that's my motivation for all of this, is wanting to do a good job for clients and see people happy at the end of it.
So I my next question I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to give you what I think
Okay.
as an answer. And the next question is, what do you think makes design in the Shires different?
I think what makes us different is the relationships that we build with clients. I think it's really getting to know people and their businesses and becoming quite emotionally invested, if I'm honest,
Yeah.
sometimes in their success. And it's that long-standing relationship. I'm really proud that the vast majority of clients we've got stay with us for a long time. And that, I think, speaks volumes about those relationships that we've built. So we offer the same services as many other agencies do, both locally and nationally. But I think it's that time that we take to have that human connection and be sometimes brutally honest about what is required. It's not about making the sale for me. It's about giving the person in front of me all the knowledge they need to make an informed decision, whether that's with us or not.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see people lose lots of money. We get people come to us who have had a really torrid time, and I want to make sure that they have the opposite experience with us. So that's our motivation.
And I think what I've seen, I'd agree with that. So as I mentioned earlier, you not only manage my website, but you also manage the sort of the digital media side of uploading the videos onto YouTube, etc. And I'd been talking to various website designers, but they all were talking, it was all tech speak.
Yeah.
And I couldn't relate what they were saying and understand. And half of it I didn't even understand. I don't pretend to understand it now. But what I found with your people is it was a personal experience rather than a technical experience. You have a manager for onboarding, which I thought again was great. So that understanding of what we wanted to do through the website, what the business was looking to do. But it felt personal. It felt like you were interested in my views and what we were trying to achieve, as opposed to just being a technical solution. And as I say, to me, I think that was the biggest difference, which is kind of aligns with what you said, really.
And I think you've kind of honed in on a really important point there, is that it's all about, I could sit and sell to you what technical functionalities your website's going to have, but that doesn't mean anything. You want to know, what value is it going to add to me? How is this going to help my business and my everyday life? And that isn't saying to you a whole load of technical acronyms. You want to know what value it's going to add. So that's an important stream across website design, traditional and digital marketing, is about putting forth what your audience needs to hear in terms of value, not technical jargon. It's about the value it adds, not the function it offers.
What does SEO actually mean?
SEO. So SEO is an acronym for search engine optimization. And it is, although sometimes dismissed, an incredibly important part of the growth of your website. So it effectively is ensuring that your website is optimized to show on search engines. So it looks at what search queries are people typing into Google. Is that valuable to your business? And where are you ranking? And do you need to rank better? So it's looking at how people are finding you and then tweaking the website to make sure that it's doing the best it can and pulling in those audiences that you might be missing. So it's not just looking at the obvious. For example, if you're a hairdresser, one of your keywords might be hair dye in Malvern, but you might be able to find a really specific keyword that has less people searching for it, that really hones in for your skills as a hairdresser that does particularly good balayage, for example. So you might have balayage in Malvern as a more valuable keyword for that individual business. So it's getting to know the business really well, getting to know their audience really well, and making sure that you make changes on the website, both from a technical and a content point of view, that's going to push the performance and drive more traffic from the search engines to your website.
Thank you. I'm sure everybody will have found that really useful, because it's one of those phrases that gets thrown about, isn't it? You see it all the time.
Yeah, it does get thrown about, and I think it's also used as a fear tactic. And again, it's an area where people have often wasted a lot of money in the past.
Yeah.
But if you've got an SEO expert working on your site, you will see the value. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to see it in the first month.
No.
It's a long-term gain. So you're looking 6 months, 12 months down the line, which can feel painful to clients because you think, oh, I'm putting all this money to you and nothing's happening. But then all of a sudden you'll see it kind of kick off.
Yeah.
So it is one of those words that people are wary of. And of course, there's a lot of discussion at the moment with AI and, ChatGPT and Gemini and all these places that are beginning to take some of that traffic and keep it within their AI models rather than on the websites themselves. But SEO still remains a really important part of your marketing strategy. And the good news is, if you're doing SEO properly, it's all about delivering value for the end user. So it's basically all about making sure that your content is written really well and answers directly your clients, your users' queries. And at the end of the day, the AI models is the same.
Yeah.
So as long as you're doing best practice for SEO, you will find some improvement for the AI stuff. But there's that debate going on at the moment about, do we need to stop investing into SEO and start investing into AI? And it's an unknown, isn't it? Because it's such a new thing.
Yeah.
But my answer would be you need to do both. And at the end of the day, just stick to best practice and you'll see an improvement on both things anyway. But this is a new subject that's getting a lot of discussion.
Are you finding AI is making a big difference to how you look at websites?
I wouldn't say it makes. So first of all, we would always discourage using any AI written content on a website. We're pretty sure that Google and other search engines can identify that it's AI written and will punish you. So from that sense, yes, we're looking to make sure that the quality of the content is really high. It's very tempting to use it because we all know it's a shortcut. Although I would say make sure the content is not written by AI, I think AI can be a really useful tool to get you 70% of the way. So perhaps help you with how an article should be structured.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you write the article yourself.
And avoid using the same terms. I find when I'm writing, I use the same phrases all the time.
Yes, yeah. So that and interesting. That comes on back to the SEO, because there are lots of tools that we can use here that help us explain the same thing 500 times over, because that is part of the challenge to it. And it's making sure that you've kind of use different phrases, but that all those phrases are valuable to your business from a search engine point of view as well. So it's a really, really huge subject. We've only just touched on the surface of it here, and obviously there's so much more that we could debate. But it remains something that needs to be at the forefront of people's minds. At the end of the day, most people will look for a business on Google or Bing or an alternative, and if you are not there,
they'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, they'll go to a competitor, or you've lost them. So you've got a very small window of opportunity. So making sure that you are where you want to be is crucially important to getting an audience.
So this season of the Leaders and Strategy podcast is top tips for business leaders. So what would be your top 3 tips for business leaders when it comes to the website?
So first, for the website, is make sure that the content on the site isn't all about you saying how wonderful you are. It needs to deliver value to the client. So instead of saying, we're the best website design agency ever, you could say to a client, we'll make sure your traffic grows. So it's that value added statement. So that going through your website and just making sure that you are focused on what you're offering to your customer primarily, I think is really important. The other thing to do would be to look at Google itself. So type in a term that you think is valuable to your business. So for us, it could be website design, something similar, and actually do it in incognito mode, or make sure that if you can, a browser that's not looking at your history, because it will inflate your performance. And have a look at where you actually appear. Where do your competitors appear? Are you where you want to be? And if the answer is no, then you have some work to do effectively. And whether that's done in-house by just tweaking things, or whether you engage the services of an agency such as ourselves to help. If you're not where you want to be on that search engine, that is the first thing to try and address. And I think the other one would be having a look at going, the more technical sides, you can run your website through Google Page Speed Insights, which will give you an idea about how quickly it's loading. Now, if anything is red, it gives you nice little kind of graph indicators in red, amber, green. If anything is in red, again, you're going to be punished from the algorithm because the website is not loading quickly enough. And that can be actually quite a simple fix sometimes. So those are my 3 top tips. Yeah, have a look at the content on your site. Is it talking about value? Where are you on the search engines? And the third being the page speeds. How quickly is your site loading? And is there anything that you can do to improve that? Because that will damage your algorithm performance.
Excellent. So the business does website design and it does digital marketing and graphic design. Do you find those are 3 natural bedfellows as a business?
Yes, absolutely. They all play into one another. So Ben started as a graphic designer, which is the basic skill I think you need to come across all of those things. The graphic design absolutely plays into the website design because it's all about visuals. It's all about making things pop and stand out and be engaging to the audience. The digital marketing, there are 2 kind of routes that you could take here. So you can either be a very kind of data focused digital marketer where you're looking at PPC and all the data and that good stuff, or it can be about the visuals and that kind of more front end straight to client kind of stuff. So in that respect, social media posts that have been designed properly get better engagement. And then if you go through to even like car wraps and making sure you've got the stickers on the cars and all, it is a basic skill for any business needs, is to be able to present itself in a visually engaging way to the public. So definitely they all 3 go hand in hand. Started with graphic design, moved on to the website design as a natural kind of progression, and then the digital marketing, absolutely. Design skills can be, a lot of people will now use Canva or something similar, so it's more accessible now than it was before, but obviously my team use all their fancy programs that they've got, but yes, they are definitely naturally linked.
Yeah, excellent, good. I know through working with yourselves that a lot of what Design in the Shires does is work with local businesses and delivering to the local people and to the local community. But you also work with national and multinational companies. Do you think there's a difference in an approach that you have between the local businesses and the larger businesses?
There has to be. Often the larger businesses, certainly the national businesses or the businesses that sit more in that corporate sphere, they already understand the importance of marketing and the importance of giving that budget, and they will mostly already be quite organized about how that needs to happen. And with those businesses, we slip into a team. So we become an extended arm of their internal team and work very closely with their marketing departments. The challenge comes that because of it being corporate, generally things tend to move a little slower, but that's just part of it. When working with our smaller business clients, it is a totally different kettle of fish. They often, by nature, have smaller budgets. So the pain of having to part with some of that cash for marketing, which, it doesn't feel like you're putting that directly into the stream to get money straight back in. It's a long-term gain. So it feels scary to them. So I think the challenge for us with working with those smaller businesses is to try and enable them to feel confident that it is the right step that they're taking, that it's well thought out, that it's not just a punt in the dark. There is thought and strategy sitting behind it. And also with the smaller businesses, the challenge always is time. They have a day job, they're running their own business, trying to find the time to write website content for us or whatever it might be is very difficult.
Absolutely.
So we are aware we're often towards the bottom of people's to-do list, and that's just part of it. But absolutely different thing dealing with those large companies to the smaller local ones.
Which do you prefer? Or
Which do I prefer? That is a good question. I think I like working with the smaller local businesses because we get to really build that relationship, and we become incredibly important to them, and we become part of a big team. With the corporates, I enjoy working with them because they are organized and because they understand there's less of a push from us to get people to take the steps we need them to take. But potentially also can be frustrating because you're working with different, perhaps a chain of people.
So having the mix is good.
I enjoy a mix. I think that's what's lovely about this business as a whole, is we get to meet all sorts of different people.
Now for ongoing support, join our new Patreon community. Subscribe for exclusive content from the Leaders in Strategy podcast, downloadable resources like our annual business plan checklist, and access to a full business course. As a member, you'll get discounted rates on one-to-one workshops, the chance to have your business questions answered, and featured in special monthly podcast episodes. Let's strategize and let's execute. Join our Patreon now and become a leader in strategy yourself.
So as you know, I like to set some homework, and as you're our guest today, I thought I'd ask you to set the homework for today. So some homework for our viewers and listeners related to websites.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing that people should do is go and Google themselves. No, not their name, but the terms that are useful for their business, and find out where you are actually sitting. What is your current performance? Have a look at what we would refer to as benchmarking yourself. So actually, are we where we want to be? And if the answer is no, then you have some questions to ask about how you're going to rectify that. So I think ascertaining where you are now is really important. I think the other thing that would be really useful for people to do is to send their website to friends and family and ask for their opinions as to whether or not it's them talking all about themselves, or if they're talking about the value they're offering to clients. And the reason I say send it to friends and family is because they will be brutally honest with you. You can send it to clients, but they'll probably just be nice. So I think it's a case of trying to get that objective review of how you are actually presenting yourself to your customers, because often it's hard when you're doing it yourself. You're too close. So send it to some people be honest, and get their opinions as to whether or not it is talking about value, and whether or not it's clear what you do. Because it's amazing how many times it's actually not that clear what people do. So I think those are two really useful things that people could do. And the third would be to go and have a look at what your competitors are doing in terms of digital marketing. Sign up to their email marketing campaigns, follow them on Facebook, follow them on Insta, or all the social platforms, and keep a close eye on how they're presenting themselves. Because are you doing it better? Are you missing a trick? Are they, blowing you out the water with everything they're doing? So having an idea of where your current performance is, how you're presenting yourself to your clients, and what your competitors are doing is three really important steps that people could take.
Yeah. And just a quick reminder of where you can find us. You can watch us on the Leaders in Strategy YouTube channel, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Podbean, and Podchaser. And of course, we upload every episode onto my LinkedIn page and also onto the Strategist Consulting website. Thank you for that. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It was really good. And hopefully you'll come back and join us again soon.
I'm quite happy to. I've enjoyed myself. Thank you, Mike.
And thank you for joining us. And I'll see you next time on the Leaders and Strategy podcast. I'll see you then. Cheers.